The 30-30-30 rule is a morning routine hack that claims to help you burn fat like no other. It's where you eat 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking and then do 30 minutes of low intensity exercise right after, which could be like biking, swimming, or walking. And the truth is, actually, for most people, it's probably a pretty great tool. It definitely can be used to help you lose weight, specifically fat, a lot easier. However, the problem is that also a lot of people are doing it wrong. So today I'm sharing 4 really big mistakes that people are making with the 30-30-30 method, as well as a really delicious high protein smoothie that you can actually use with this method so that you can actually see the results that you're looking for when using it. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Kettle and Fire. More on them in a bit. Okay, so there are pretty established science-backed reasons why this 30-30-30 method could work. 30-30-30? Did I say that too many times? First reason is that most people are simply just under consuming on protein in general, but especially first thing in the morning. Breakfast tends to be the lowest protein meal of the day. If you think of the typical type of breakfast meal items like cereal and toast and oatmeal, all of those contain essentially 0 grams of complete high quality protein. Or there's even healthier protein breakfast options that people are eating that are just really low in protein. Think of things like regular yogurt, which only has about 5 to 6 grams of protein per serving, or even eggs. A lot of my clients are eating like 1 to 2 eggs thinking they're having a high protein breakfast, but in reality, it is pretty low. That's only about 6 to 12 grams at the upper end of protein. So by having 30 grams of complete protein specifically with breakfast, that is such a great first step in a weight loss journey. Because of the second reason that this 30-30-30 method could work, and it's that eating a higher amount of protein first thing in the morning could actually help you to eat less later in the day. It's been found with research that people who eat about 30 grams of complete protein at their first meal, aka breakfast or break fast, actually tend to eat less at lunch. And this is because protein is more satiating. It helps to raise our satiety hormones, peptide YY and CCK, makes us feel full and satisfied, so we just simply don't want to eat as much. Another reason why this method works for a lot of people is because the average amount of steps that Americans are getting is between 3,000 to 4,000 steps per day. That is like 1.5 to 2 miles per day. And even just by simply adding in that 30 minutes of walking every day, that automatically gives you about that 3,000 to 4,000 steps in addition to what you're already getting. And there are a lot of study benefits of walking in relation to fat loss and longevity and health and wellness, but specifically you'll find those results at about 8,300 steps per day. So adding that walk first thing in the morning could really help. And then another reason why this method could really work for a lot of people is because it is so simple and easy to understand. It's 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking and then getting 30 minutes of exercise. It's not complicated, it's not overwhelming, it's pretty simple. But with all that being said, with simplicity, there can also be a lot of mistakes because there's just simply a lot left unsaid, which means there's a lot of gray area and a lot of room for people to misinterpret what they should be doing and therefore not seeing the results that they are looking for. And the first really big mistake has to do with having high protein before exercise. Now, for a lot of people, having a higher protein amount, like 30 grams of protein before they do their exercise, can actually help to provide the amino acids to help with muscle recovery. But the thing is, you don't really need these amino acids if you're just doing steady state cardio. The time that you would need those amino acids is if you're doing heavier strength training or just a higher intensity exercise. That's when we have more demand on our muscles are breaking down more, and we have more of an immediate need for those amino acids for recovery. But also that window in time in which we need to be taking in those amino acids from protein is a lot bigger than we previously thought. We used to think it was only like an hour or maybe even just 30 minutes. Now we know that for most people, it's more like 24 hours. So as long as you're eating enough protein within that 24-hour window, then you're very likely going to be getting the same benefits as just eating some protein immediately after that exercise or immediately before. The caveat is if you are an elite athlete or if you're doing really heavy training, that is a case where you might need to have it immediately before or immediately after or both. Now, even if you aren't an elite athlete and even if you aren't doing that heavy strength training, having that 30 grams of protein first thing can be really helpful because it does help to stabilize blood sugar levels, does help to make it so you aren't as hungry. So again, for a lot of people, it could be really great. However, for a lot of people like myself included, it is actually not a really great option because protein is so satiating. What it's actually doing is slowing down your digestion, which means that food can kind of like sit in your stomach a bit while you're exercising and make you feel queasy and nauseous. And because you aren't feeling so great, this could actually lead you to perform not as well during your exercise and therefore not get the results that you really want. This is definitely a case-by-case basis. Some people have to have something before they work out. Others, like myself, need to be completely fasted. Like I don't have anything other than water before I work out. So with this 30-30-30 method, you can view it as more of general guidelines to apply into your morning routine, but not necessarily within that 30-minute window. So just trying to fit in 30 grams of complete protein with your first meal, and then also having that 30 minutes of exercise, and then making it adjust to your routine and what it is that fits your body so that it's something that you can actually maintain and see the best results with. Okay, the second really big mistake is the quality of the protein. Now, the huge benefits of the 30-30-30 method is that it does help to stabilize blood sugar level, which means you're not going to be getting those blood sugar crashes. You're not going to be craving sugary sweet treats. You also get that instant hit of satiety and feeling satisfied from your meal, so you're not hungry. All of these things make it so it reduces your intake naturally later. You're not consciously having to count calories, but you're just going to be naturally eating less because you're full and satisfied. But the issue is that not all proteins are created equal. Not all will give you the same benefit. Let's take peanut butter, for example. Peanut butter is something that a lot of people think is like really high in protein, is a good option to add into their meal for a good source of protein. But 1 tablespoon of peanut butter only has about 4 grams of protein. It also has 8 grams of fat. Just used on its own in like a smoothie or something, this is a great way to get a high quality source of fat in to help boost satiety. However, if you're thinking that you are getting high quality protein from your peanut butter, you would also have to eat about 60 grams worth of fat in order to get that 30 grams of protein from peanut butter in just 1 meal. Not to mention the actual quality of that protein from peanut butter is what's considered low DIAS. DIAS is a measurement of protein quality. It measures how well our body's actually using that protein as a protein. And because it's rated so low, it actually can't really even get a protein quality claim. So you won't be getting those same benefits if you're counting your protein from peanut butter. Instead, you want to use higher quality proteins for every one of your meals, but especially for that first meal. And these are from things like Greek yogurt and eggs and cottage cheese and chicken and meat and fish. And what I personally love doing to maximize the benefits of those proteins is also pairing it with a high quality whole food source of collagen, like with today's sponsor, Kettle and Fire. Bone broth is naturally very rich in collagen. And when you combine collagen with these other protein sources, it helps to even further reduce hunger and make you feel even more full and even more satisfied. So if you're somebody who really struggles with hunger and cravings, combining these two can be an absolute game changer. Plus, there's studies showing that the amino acids in bone broth have a lot of other great health benefits, like reducing inflammation, helping with bone health, and helping with joint health. And Kettle and Fire is my all-time favorite bone broth company because they slowly simmer the bones from grass-fed cows in order to make sure that they're pulling out as much collagen as possible. When you slowly simmer the bones, it allows enough time to get that collagen out versus a lot of other companies might have a shorter time that they're simmering the bones, which means they're not going to get the maximum benefits. Plus, bone broth is a really great whole food source of collagen, and Kettle and Fire tastes great and it's so convenient to use. I personally know how to make bone broth. I've made it so many times in the past, but I love that I can just reach into my pantry and grab it at any time and add it into any meal, because as a new mom and because I'm pregnant and because I'm also a business owner, I do not have time to make bone broth. So Kettle and Fire just makes it so much easier for me to get those amazing benefits of bone broth in my meals. And Kettle and Fire is so generous to my community, and they're offering 20% off your bone broth purchase when you use code AUTUMNBAITS at checkout. So make sure you stock up, and I'll have the link down in the description below. And using high quality protein, especially in the morning, can be a little tricky because there are so many low protein recipes for specifically breakfast or the first meal. So I'm going to share with you a really fast, easy, nutrient dense, and high protein smoothie that you can make and bring with you on the go no matter what your schedule is. Okay, so this smoothie is a complete meal. It's packed with protein, fat, and fiber, and it's going to have at least 30 grams of complete protein. So it'll cover that 30-30-30 protocol. However, we're adding in a little twist to make it so that you get even more benefits in terms of satiety, as well as additional health benefits. So we're going to be doing a chocolate peanut butter type of protein smoothie, which will be so good. But the main little swap that I know will sound strange, but actually you won't even notice it's there, we're going to be adding in for the liquid base bone broth. Now, when using bone broth with other proteins that we're going to be adding in, it helps to boost the overall satiety even more. Plus, you get the additional health benefits of having collagen, especially from a whole food source like bone broth. A little hack when using bone broth in the smoothie is to go for the low sodium version. That way you can mask the flavor of the bone broth and you literally won't even know it's there. So for the base, I'm going to be using 1 cup of bone broth, and I'm going to save the rest of that for a recipe tonight. Okay, next up for the actual protein, I'm going to be using a combination of my chocolate protein powder, which adds that really delicious, like chocolatey rich flavor. And I'm using 2 scoops, which is 20 grams of protein. And then for the remaining protein, I'm using a 1/2 cup of skyr, but you can also use Greek yogurt, or you could use a plant-based Greek style yogurt if you are allergic to dairy. And then for some high quality fat as well as fiber to help boost satiety and help with the gut health aspect and feeding the gut bacteria bacteria, I'm adding in a tablespoon of chia seeds. To boost that chocolatey flavor even more, I'm adding about like a teaspoon or so of just regular cocoa powder, unsweetened. But you can add more if you like it extra chocolatey, which I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Now for additional fat to boost satiety, make it a complete meal, I'm adding in a tablespoon of peanut butter, although if you are very active, then you would want to increase this to like 2 tablespoons. Okay, final ingredient, I'm gonna add frozen banana. I would recommend using frozen because it helps to make it just more creamy. This adds that hint of sweetness, and especially since we have the other protein, fat, and fibers, it helps to make it so that the sugar in the banana isn't going to give as big of a blood sugar spike. You can use between a half or a full banana. If you're more carb sensitive, then I would suggest a half, but if you aren't as carb sensitive, then you can go for a full. Then we're just gonna blend it up and pour. Taste test. You literally wouldn't even know that the bone broth is in there. Just chocolate, peanut butter, goodness. Cheers. Okay, the third mistake is that some people might actually need more than 30 grams of protein. Now, don't get me wrong, 30 grams is a really great place to start. As I mentioned, most people are vastly under consuming even based on that. However, when I'm calculating for my clients their actual protein needs, a lot of people tend to need about 40 to 45 or sometimes even 50 grams of protein at each of their meals. So only having 30 grams of protein at their first meal could make it so they're not actually going to reap the maximum benefits of protein from a fat loss and body recomposition perspective. So if you wanted to double check exactly how much protein you need, I have a completely free protein calculator that helps you figure out how much protein you need based on specific factors like your height, your weight, your activity level, as well as your goals. I'll have that protein calculator linked down in the description below. It's a brand new feature we just added to our website to make calculating your protein so much easier, and I'm so proud of it. Okay, the fourth mistake that you need to know is that this 30-30-30 rule is really just a place to start. For a lot of people who are used to eating more ultra processed foods, who maybe eat lower protein and perhaps are not very active, this is going to be such a great place to start. You're probably going to notice some pretty rapid changes right away because it is such a drastic shift from what you're currently doing. Even changing the first part of your morning routine can really set you up for success for the rest of the day and make it so that you can make some really significant progress towards your goals. You'll probably start to lose fat. You'll probably start to feel a lot better and more energized. However, if you are somebody who is already fairly active, or if you have an active job, or if you already eat a pretty high amount of protein, you also probably won't really see any change at all. And that's because the 30-30-30 rule doesn't address the rest of the day. It also doesn't address the other types of exercises that can help you to continue to see success long term. A lot of questions start to come up like, what do you eat at lunch? What do you eat at dinner? Do you have snacks? Do you not have snacks? Do you only do low intensity exercise, or are you supposed to add in any other type? And to be fair, I don't think this rule was developed to be all encompassing or like the only thing you're supposed to do in order to achieve your success. But it's also important to know that just following this rule is not going to get you all the way to your goals. Depending on where you're at, it'll probably get you to like 25 to maybe 50% of the way there. It's really just that first major stepping stone that can help you to get the ball rolling for the rest of your wellness progress. Help you to start to see some progress, get excited, get motivated, and then start to make those small additional changes that help you get the rest of the way there. Which last year I lost 20 pounds after having my first baby, and I did follow some of these strategies of the 30-30-30 rule, not specifically because of that rule, but because they are good strategies. But I also did a lot of other small things that made it so I could continue to lose body fat, maintain muscle, keep my metabolism healthy, and also not have to count calories while losing weight. So if you guys want to see the whole story, the whole picture, exactly what I did, you can find it with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.